Happy Heroes Day and welcome to Camnet TV Main News. I am Precious Mzea Sakaleji. The headlines. UPND KABWATA Ward 6 Councilor BWALYA CHISHALA cited for illegal land allocation. Abandoned building in CHIBOLYA compound turns into a dump site for dead people. Freedom fighters remind government to honor them this Heroes Day. And in international news, Sierra Leone's government backs move to decriminalize abortion. And in sports, Copper Queens coach Bruce MWAPE praises team's spirit despite goalless draw with Cameroon. Details coming through after this commercial. And now the main news in detail. Goodwill Ambassador for Persons with Disabilities Elijah Ngwale has called for Skills Center for Persons with Disabilities, which were established in the 1980s and 1990s, to be revamped as one way of empowering this group of people with skills. In an interview, Mr. Ngwale notes that this will make the process of empowering persons with disabilities in skills development using the Constituency Development Fund easier, unlike putting up new structures. He says these only need machinery as there are a number of them across the country.
They must come up with a crushing program which is going to resuscitate, rejuvenate, and revamp all these centers, including but not limited to National Vocational Rehabilitation Center in Ndola, Kangonga, Kambowa, Mtongolo, Fisenge, Masaiti on the Copper Belt, Kazembe in Wapula, and Luminu. Let all these centers be resuscitated so that they begin providing skills to persons with disabilities. We don't have to look for other infrastructure. We have this infrastructure quite all right. Only then shall CDF be accessible, acceptable, affordable, available, and viable to us persons with disabilities.
An unidentified man aged between 25 and 30 has been discovered dead in an abandoned building in Lusaka's CHIBOLYA compound near Mobile Market. Residents of the area have called for immediate demolition of the building, stating that this has become a place where rape, murder and the dumping of dead bodies takes place. Meanwhile, Harry Mwanga Nkumbula Ward 12 Councillor Mr. Aaron Mwanza says police security will be provided at the building by next week as the building cannot yet be demolished, explaining that matters concerning the land on which the building sits are currently in court.
I'm here in New CHIBOLYA compound of Lusaka, and behind me is a building commonly known as Mutakulwa. Now, according to the residents here, this building has actually become a target which is used for many vices such as rape, murder and the dumping of dead bodies. And so this morning of 4th July on Monday, the residents actually notified Camnet TV stating that the body of a man who has not been identified but is suspected to be between 25 and 30 was found here in this building. And so here are the views from the residents who actually want the building to be demolished.
tapeza abana basobera apa ndiye kukamba ati muli chitumbi So ndio wametensta ndira bazimai tenze batatu tangenamo tapeza muntu nuwokufa achitasu. So ndio wametandira kuchita report ku polisi na kubauza ati kuri muntu afera mu chinyumba omu ndio wametabwerera na veve va polisi ndio wampezera wamudobera uyo muntu.
Palero fya chitika batisango omuntu wafumu. Ero terero fyamba kale fyamba. Kale yonse baratora mu abantu abafumu nomba chachiramu. So I think ichefa ikafeba chitobe.
Yes. Building nda pashiramo bantu bambiri bachairapo magara. Na magara futi na marep case futi wakazi benangu tapeza ati munyumba. Peza kati wakachoka kukapena nkutari uko wabwero mutaira omufuti muri chechi chipitu. Mwayona. Ora futi peza kati mukazi unangu akamukira futi wabwero mulepingira mwameno mfuti bagayi. Cheve chifuna kwa chati boma yanganepo pari building.
So ngati wachifunsiza vachipwanje uli vachipazi tichipwayindise kasi timvera mucha mwa mugazi amwali amungalero apa ni muntu wakaere mwaona peza chamwali mwaona chaka ero wantu wakanza ndise fitampa so at least ndise vakuno wakanza bati basa wasa expected ndise so at least vachipwanje vachichosepo chintu apa mwazi.
The further explained that one cannot pass here past 18:30 hours because they will be attacked by community gangs commonly known as junkies.
Majanki achitaova vachitoimirira pamene pa 19 hours isipita.
Meanwhile, Camnet TV took a step further and talked to the owner of the building, Miss Ruth Piri, who has explained that this building was actually started by her late husband, but then the family failed to complete the building following his death.
Over the building, my husband died some 2.5 years ago. It's a building permanent nankala pants wa family. Kwenye makwarozi so hapa tinaenda na court. We are planning to sell that building. Ero yo ya mene lero ndiye pamene na dabwati mwapezeka muntu wakufa. Kaya ngatafinga tiba mupaira mwamene mujolo bamutaira mochabela ya I don't know because simankala kuna na ine ni.
She explains that the matter is currently in court and so they cannot demolish the building as the land is not yet fully in their hands because the court procedures have not yet been concluded. But she explains that as soon as the court procedures are completed, this building will be demolished. The residents, however, say they cannot wait that long and would like action immediately. Now, Camnet TV has been carrying a number of stories where a number of communities have incomplete buildings, and these have actually been seen to be used for illicit activities by criminals. We further reached out to the area councillor, Mr. Aaron Mwanza, and this is what he had to say.
So we are planning to get maybe those containers to be mounted here, so that the police officers can be guarding this place as we are waiting for demolishing of this area, and also so we'll do that next week. So we want to work with the deputy, so by next week we bring a container here.
Now, the Department of City Planning at the Lusaka City Council has been conducting an audit of such buildings to have them either sold off in the event that their owner is recognized, and in the case that the owner is not known, for them to be demolished. Security has been one of the major concerns in the face of communities that have such buildings. Zipora Mshala, Camnet News, Lusaka.
Alleged United Party for National Development UPND members have gathered in KABWATA to clarify rumors that a named councillor in KABWATA has been illegally dashing out land to UPND cadres. In an interview with Camnet News Monday, KABWATA Ward 6 councillor BWALYA CHISHALA accepts giving lands to traders as a temporary measure before finding a lasting solution. The civic leader has defended himself, saying the said land in question was duly granted by the Lusaka City Council LCC for use in setting up temporary trading structures for residents in KABWATA.
Tempers flared in Lusaka's KABWATA constituency, where some alleged United Party for National Development members have been accused of illegally sharing council land in KABWATA without proper documentation. Speaking to Camnet TV, KABWATA Ward 6 councillor BWALYA CHISHALA has refuted claims of criminality, saying that it is not possible for one to sell off a 2-meter piece of land at 50,000 kwacha like has been alleged on social media. The councillor says the land in question was given by the Lusaka City Council to be used as a temporary trading space for KABWATA residents.
So,
I would like to state here clearly that there's no piece of land that has been sold. What is going on is that they are residents of KABWATA, and they've taken advantage of the fact that the new Dawn government is going to provide them with empowerment. So what it is that KABWATA doesn't have enough space. The market is full. So this space has been identified for them to put up temporary structures. So as area councillor, I'm concerned also to say, because one, if these spaces are left like this, there's been a lot of violence in terms of criminality. Also, you go the other side, you find that they've turned them into dump sites. So I'm looking at the bigger picture here. Do our people benefit, or we leave the space as it is?
And speaking to this reporter, Monday, a UPND member, Barnabas Mwananzale, has added his voice.
50,000. He's the one who is wamenaononga chipani. As we are not here, kuononga chipani here. We are here to help the people so that empowerment. They have somewhere where to do. We are not here permanent. We'll be here temporal. If they want to use this space for anything else, they will remove everyone here. Honestly speaking, can you post on the media, being a councillor, a normal person who represents a lot of millions of people, to go and post on the media to say this part and this part is 50,000? That doesn't make sense.
And KABWATA Ward 6 chairperson, Michelo Mudenda, has urged patriotic farm members to desist from stirring unnecessary tension as the UPND administration is not involved in any illegal activities.
To fight one member maybe beat anyone. We are free kutoka kusanita bwela panotangala kulipa mtameta menyapo. So I'm even surprised that it's all over me that no by UPND they are selling lands there. 5,000. That's a blue line. You guys, Kuromena Gurisa 5,000. That's a lie. We are 2 meters. It's free. It's just free because
meanwhile, police has apprehended 19 people who are found demarcating land in KABWATA for offense of criminal trespassing.
Police in Lusaka have apprehended 19 people who were found demarcating land in ZESCO high voltage power lines in KABWATA site and service. The suspects, who include 3 females and an 80-year-old man, have all been charged with the offense of criminal trespass. Police who rushed to the scene after a tip-off from members of the public rounded up the suspects around 14 hours in KABWATA site and service.
In the recent general elections, the former ruling party scored 1.8 million votes, while the ruling United Party for National Development poured 2.8 million votes, a difference of 1 million, clearly indicating a strong voice for change. Now the question is, are Zambians really seeing this change? Messi Chanika reporting for Camnet TV News.
The Freedom Fighters Association of Zambia says the expansion of the free education policy to also cater for secondary schools under the current administration is the greatest honor to Zambia's founding father, as it is an investment for the future. In an interview, Association President Mr. Peter Malembeka notes that this will guarantee development, that Zambia will be enriched with a skilled and diverse human resource. Meanwhile, the 86-year-old has called for neglected freedom fighters to be looked after under the current administration, stating that there are many living in dire poverty despite their sacrifice for the nation. He was speaking in line with Zambia's Heroes Day, which is celebrated on the 4th of July every year, aiming at honoring Zambia's freedom fighters.
Zambians today enjoy a number of rights such as the freedom of speech, movement, and association. All these, however, did not come without the blood and sweat of Zambia's founding fathers, who fought for the country's liberation, which was eventually achieved on 24th October 1964. On 4th of July every year, Zambia's liberators are recognized on a special day known as Heroes Day. Freedom Fighters Association of Zambia chairperson Mr. Peter Malembeka says the expansion of free education to include secondary schools is an honor to the country's founding fathers.
God, he came and said, no, I want 8 to make a free school. I was very happy. I was very happy. And we must congratulate a president, HAG. He has done a good job. He has done free school, mommy. Very difficult.
Mr. Malembeka has, however, pleaded with the current administration to safeguard the welfare of freedom fighters, stating that most of them are still living in poverty.
Freedom fighters, since I have said before, they need to help us. We freedom fighters, we are just struggling, we don't do anything, we are just suffering. But, for example, my soul, I need my mentor. I don't have any mentor. They should give me mentor. All those are sometimes others, I am. But they should give me, I should get happy sometimes. They are no freedom fighter. Oh, yes, yes. Not just from home. Just saying, no, that's not.
Meanwhile, United Party for National Development, UPND National Deputy Youth Spokesperson Mr. Phineas Pumulo has called on today's youths to emulate the country's heroes by contributing positively to the country's development.
The issue of self does not reflect the oneness or Ubuntu which us as Zambians are believing in. So we believe and trust that this generation of us as young people, we should make sure that we live the lives of service to the people. Because Zambia can only develop when we put leaders who work for the people than having opportunists in their decision-making positions. That is what is key, is to make sure that the youths take responsibility of their lives, like what we saw then youth, the likes of Veron Mwanga, who raised in the political arena at a very tender age, because he was given an opportunity and he was able to take the opportunity.
Zambians are currently reflecting on the independence struggle, which has granted all citizens today's liberty. Zipporah Mshala, Camnet News, Lusaka.
Nalikwanda Member of Parliament in Eastern Province, Nkunwa Simunji, says the increased Constituency Development Fund CDF from 1.6 million kwacha to 25.7 million kwacha has provided an opportunity to create decent accommodation for teachers in the area who are currently living in classrooms due to lack of accommodation. In an interview, Simunji explains that the construction of teachers' houses is one of the key priorities in the area, especially that names for new recruits across the country are expected to be announced in July, and this will need decent accommodations. He has also revealed that a number of roads have been earmarked for construction using the same funds, as the constituency has no proper roads to boast of, despite being the major producer of mukwa woods used in the making of furniture.
Lack of decent accommodation for teachers in rural areas has always been seen as a hindrance to the delivery of quality education, as records from the Ministry of Education show high levels of teacher absenteeism owing to these teachers coming from far places. Concerns have risen in the face of the expected recruitment of 30,000 teachers, as this would further increase housing concerns. In an interview, Nalikwanda Member of Parliament Mr. Nkunwa Simunji says the constituency has targeted the construction of teachers' houses using increased Constituency Development Fund CDA from 1.6 million to 25.7 million kwacha. He explains that most of the houses in the area are grass-thatched, leaving most teachers to live in classrooms.
As you are aware, Nalikwanda is a pure rural constituency, and all the houses in Nalikwanda are made out of poles and mud and thatched roof. Meaning, the majority of the teachers who are going to be recruited in Nalikwanda, in Mongo, are going to Nalikwanda, where there are no infrastructure, where they are going to be accommodated. So what we are trying to do is get a major part of the CDF and construct teachers' houses. And remember, a house cannot be constructed in a week. So we have a problem where we are going to accommodate these teachers as they are recruited now. Or maybe some of these teachers have to take some of the classrooms to be their houses for now, so that as we construct, they'll be living in their classrooms. Later on, when you finish, then they relocate to the houses.
Mr. Simunji also adds that road construction has been earmarked as one way of boosting the Mukwa wood business in the area, which has been limited by poor road network.
No inlets, no outlets. Meaning, whatever you produce in Nalikwanda, to take it to the market, it's a problem. You may be aware that in Nalikwanda, there are a lot of streams. The Rui stream, Siowe stream, Mutondo, Namengo. There are no crossing points. Meanwhile, that's where the Lozi wood or Mukwa comes from. The one you find at Museko. There's a lot of Mukwa or Mulombe in Nalikwanda. Now for it to be harvested in Nalikwanda and transported to the main road is a challenge.
The Nalikwanda Member of Parliament has also reviewed that clinics will be constructed so as to shorten the distance to health facilities, as residents have to walk long distances to access quality health care. Mr. Simunji adds that a number of boreholes also be sunk using CDF as one way of resolving water challenges in the area. It is hoped that CDF will deliver the much longed for development across the country at grassroots level. Zipporah Mshala, Camnet News, Lusaka.
In other news, an agriculturist, Justin Muhango, says the new pump price for diesel will slow down agriculture production as it is becoming expensive, among other agriculture necessities. Speaking to Camnet News, Mr. Muhango says diesel is a cardinal part in all areas of agriculture production. Therefore, the price must be looked at critically in consideration of both small-scale and commercial farmers. He further says the small-scale farmers, especially those in rural areas, will be affected the most.
Is negatively impacting the production and the small-scale farmers' production in general. This is because fuels comprises of about 40% of the farm inputs in terms of production costs. This means the hike in both fuel and petrol and diesel means that the production cost of the final agro products will also increase in prices. This is for the farmers to cover for that increase. But what we want to emphasize today, or to request the government, is to find means and ways of adjusting these prices. The monthly adjustments are really making farming planning very difficult.
Bus fares are expected to be adjusted upwards this week following the increase in fuel pump prices, as announced by the Energy Regulation Board on the 30th of June 2022. This is in accordance to a statement issued by Camnet TV by Road Transport and Safety Agent's Head of Public Relations, Frederick Mubanga, who revealed that the agency, RATSA, and bus operators have concluded a consultative meeting to consider the proposed adjustment in bus fares. Mr. Mubanga, however, says the proposed adjustment in bus fares will be affected after approval by all concerned stakeholders, including the Ministry of Transport and Logistics. The Energy Regulation Board increased the fuel pump prices by 1 kwacha 0.8 ngwe per litre for petrol and 2 kwacha 0.37 ngwe per litre for diesel, with effect from 1st July 2022.
The Road Transport and Safety Agency, RTSA, has considered the request for variation of bus fares by the Bus and Taxi Owners Association of Zambia following the increase in the fuel pump price. However, we wish to state that the new bus fares will only be announced in the course of the week after we seek approval from all concerned stakeholders, including the Ministry of Transport and Logistics. Therefore, we wish to put it clear that the new bus fares will only be effected after the announcement from the Road Transport and Safety Agency is made.
We'll take our first set of commercials. You're still watching Camnet TV main news. We'll be back with more after this.
Your skin is the biggest muscle in your body. That's why we make sure that Oracle is #1 when it comes to taking care of your precious skin. Oracle Pure Petroleum Jelly and Glycerin soothes, moisturizes and keeps your skin perfect. Oracle Pure Petroleum products for that perfect skin.
Welcome back. We continue with the rest of the main news. Prisons Care and Counseling Association Executive Director Godfrey Malembeka has called on the government through the Ministry of Community Development to put pardoned inmates on social cash transfer as a way of helping them restart their lives. Mr. Malembeka says most ex-inmates face a lot of challenges amidst discrimination from society. Meanwhile, ex-convict Maggie Met says it has been a challenge for them to sustain themselves after being pardoned.
Brenda Zulu, 45, and 60-year-old Maggie Mate, both of CHIBOLYA compound, who walked to freedom after being pardoned by the president, say their lives have, however, faced many challenges following their reintegration into society, as they have since lost connections to all economic activities they engaged in before being incarcerated. Speaking to Camnet TV in Lusaka, the women have complained that despite them learning various skills from the prison, they do not have enough capital to start up businesses that can put those skills to use. They have since called on government to consider putting in measures that will create opportunities for them to revamp their lives.
Tandizo mwamene tinachokera ku prison, so tenzopemba tandizo ku government koja ku prison kwa tenzeriri tinapunzira vambiri, tinapunzira kutunga, but after tachoka tandizo kuti atitandizo tupeze machines ajeyo tungira vintu vamene tenzopunzira moja tisowa kwa metinga peze ndrama za utinga gule machine, so tenzopemba tandizo bationako
tikangiwa kuti maskills amene vanatipunzisa kudunga madomati, kutunga tumaponchi machani vamene vanatipunzisa tilibe ndirama kugula makotoni nawo vachibululu sivatiyangana monga nefe vantu, and life ndiyovuta. Lelo waenda wachibululu waendotandala kugona msitting room tilibe navochita na vana na vazukulu vose nivosokonezeka. Tipemba government itiyanganeko tipaseko.
It is for this reason Prisons Care and Counseling Association Executive Director Godfrey Malembeka is calling on government to consider putting pardoned inmates on the social cash transfer program to assist them as they reintegrate into society. He says through social cash transfer, their lives will be greatly improved.
And these people benefit from the social cash transfer. The stigma and discrimination. You cannot allow them to go and queue with those who are already in the compounds. They will be saying, hey, here is a prisoner. Prisoners do not change. There must be a special program. We are ready to identify them, and Zambia Correctional Service is very good at that. So that these people are assisted with social cash transfer. That way, we shall be reducing the level of recidivism, or the number of reoffending will go down. The president has done his part. That generosity has been done. The line ministries and departments like CEC, social cash transfer, Minister of Sport, should come in and assist those Zambians that were pardoned by the president, so that they are reintegrated fully back into our society and contribute to the national development.
Cherish Sibote for Camnet News, Lusaka.
President Hakainde Hichilema has met and conferred with the Royal Highnesses at the ongoing Luindi Gonde traditional ceremony of the Tonga-speaking people of Southern Province in Monze. President Hichilema has thanked the traditional leaders for unifying the nation. Mr. Hichilema has also re-echoed that unity in diversity is the catalyst that Zambia needs as a country to anchor and deliver inclusive economic development nationwide. He says government will work closely with the traditional leaders without interfering beyond the boundaries. Meanwhile, President Hichilema has noted challenges being faced by traditional leaders such as accommodation, mobility requirements and stipend support, adding that government will ensure that the issues are resolved soon. 21 Royal Highnesses present at the ceremony included Chief Monze, Paramount Chief Mpezeni of the Ngoni people of Eastern Province, Chief Mukuni, Chief Chona, Chief Nalumba, Chief Chikanta, and Chieftainess Mwenda, among others. This is according to a statement issued by presidential spokesperson Anthony BWALYA. The Cleaning Association of Zambia President Lawrence Makumbi has challenged the government to compel chain stores to accommodate local products as opposed to begging them. During the official opening of the trade fair on the Copperbelt, Zambia's Republican President Hakainde Hichilema reminded chain stores to take up local products as the country accelerates the Buy Z campaign. And Mr. Makumbi has challenged the Ministry of Commerce, Trade and Industry and the Ministry of Small and Medium Enterprises to actualize President Hichilema's policy pronouncement. He insists that government should not take a reluctant approach but be aggressive in boosting local industries.
The Cleaning Association of Zambia is disappointed that over 10 months of the UPND rule, the New Dawn government, chain stores have continued misbehaving. They are misbehaving by continuously refusing to give Zambians an opportunity to showcase their products and services at their chain stores. What is disappointing is that now the Minister of SME, the Minister of Commerce have been continuously begging these managers at these chain stores to give Zambians an opportunity to have their products on their shelves. They continue to give foreign goods opportunity and the chance to be on their shelves. What this is doing is that we are exporting the jobs that can be done by Zambians. The Zambian manufacturers, the Zambian farmers are failing to access these markets because the managers at these chain stores have deliberately put in place measures that will not allow Zambians to have their products sold in their chain stores. Just recently, when the president was opening the Zambia Trade Fair in Ndola a day ago, the presidency was now also begging these chain stores to have products on their shelves, Zambian products on their shelves. This is disheartening because now we are allowing our president to be reduced to begging these managers and individuals. We cannot allow that.
In other news, Vubwi District Council Chairperson Vincent MWAPE has assured the residents that the local authority will rehabilitate the dilapidated Vubwi-Mbodzi Bridge. The council chairperson is concerned over the state of the bridge, which he has described as a death trap to the community. The council chairperson was speaking when he inspected works being undertaken by the community on the community of the Vubwi-Mbodzi Bridge that links Vubwi to Chadiza district.
It is without a doubt that a plunge from this approximately 20 meters high bridge would spell disaster or a loss of life. It is for this reason that Vubwi Council Chairperson Isaiah MWAPE inspected the bridge.
Was here today at the bridge, which was actually a death trap for our community, for people accessing the hospital on the other side of Vubwi and this other side of Vubwi. The bridge planks, all of them were gone, and no vehicle could pass. Not even motorcycles, not even bicycles. It was very bad. I organized the community, brought in cutting my rocks, as you have seen them, the rocks, so that at least we are able to pass temporarily to make people go to the big hospital, then go to even visit the bomb myself, Vubwi.
The civic leader assured that temporary works on the bridge are expected to commence soon whilst awaiting permanent solutions from the RDA.
I've engaged a sawyer to cut in good logs, 70 of them, so that we fix them here and people will be crossing nicely before waiting for the RDA to bring the permanent solution to the bridge.
Community members have also expressed worry over the continued use of the bridge, which is an important transportation link.
Chinalichovuta vena mapitira kupansi huku moto simaka opita apa nali line apa ama moto akamena naluka opita.
Davidson Sakala reporting for Zunes in Vubwi District.
International and sports news coming through right after these commercials.
Team, the trajectory of the business looks very positive, and it looks like we'll be able to launch the mission. She has so much data.
Mom?
Yes, baby?
It says here, global warming and climate change is caused by the pollution from careless activities of human beings.
Wow!
Son, do you know I can turn my phone into a TV remote?
How's that possible?
It's so easy. Check this out.
Be smart, be fast with mega data from Zamtel. Get your 15 GB mobile data for only 100 kwacha, 30 GB mobile data for only 200 kwacha, and your 70 GB LTE data bundle with free Netflix, YouTube, Facebook, and WhatsApp. Visit our Facebook page, website, or service centers countrywide for more information. Zamtel, your digital lifestyle partner.
Welcome back. We continue with the rest of the news. Now getting into our international item. Sierra Leone's President Julius Maada Bio announced his government had unanimously backed a bill that would decriminalize abortion in the country. He was speaking at the 10th Africa Conference on Sexual Health and Rights, which took place in Freetown Friday. At a time in the world when sexual and reproduction health rights for the women are either being overturned or threatened, we are proud that Sierra Leone can once again lead with progress reforms. Julius Maada Bio said, "I want it to be a norm that an African man, an African leader, I can and should speak freely and publicly about menstruation because there's no shame in menstruation." According to the presidency, parliaments will debate and vote on the risk-free motherhood bill. In other international news, high inflation in Zimbabwe has led to a loss of public confidence in banks and conventional pension system. Many are now looking for safer ways to protect their investments, and cows seem to be a safe bet for some. Al Jazeera's Harry Matas reports from northern Zimbabwe.
Traditional fortified villages in southern Morocco are under threat. The main issue is the lack of restoration that threatens this cultural and architectural heritage.
Those buildings, it's made with fragile materials, so doesn't resist that much. So when it's raining, it's cracked and hold down. That's why we have to keep it more new. So the most important is like to encourage more people to go back to live in those places and maybe make another local development, more in economic things, like to push people to not go to the cities.
Although most villages and fortifications require urgent attention, some have been restored and are now attracting tourists and new inhabitants. This is the case of Kasbah Amridil.
هذه القصبة كانت تقريبا 20 سنة ديال الخدمة وديال الترميم ومن بعد
20 years of renovations were done for this Kasbah. It happened after seeing this Kasbah almost ruined. So thanks to the family owners of this Kasbah and also tourists who always visit it, this Kasbah also helped the renovation of another Kasbah. All of this was possible because the Kasbah used to be on the 50 dinar note. It's famous. Many of these buildings were first built during the reign of the Almoravids, an Islamic Berber dynasty in the 11th century.
A warning many here in Gqeberha have become familiar with as the city braces itself for the arrival of Day Zero. Residents have been urged to use water sparingly. With less than 10 days left of supply, taps are fast becoming dry in more than 100 suburbs and townships. Water levels in many dams, including this one, are critically low. No significant amount of water can be extracted from here. And with no heavy rainfall forecast in the near future, the fear of reaching Day Zero is dangerously close. But the poorest townships are already suffering. There are only 3 taps for hundreds of people that live here, and on most days, they don't work.
When there is no water, we rely and struggle to go and fetch the water in Brumandal Dam. And we take it because we don't have an alternative and we don't have a choice. So we need, because the body needs the water to drink and we need to cook. What is worrying us more is those people that are sick and those ones that are disabled and the elderly people.
Environmentalists have said water scarcity has been amplified by climate change over the last 7 years. But mismanagement has also played a role. Millions of litres are lost every day despite water shortages. A third of the city's water supply is lost through leakages such as this one. They're now working to fix more than 3,000 of them to prevent taps from running dry. Activists have warned of a possible humanitarian crisis, prompting aid organizations to address government's slow response. Plans are in place to make sure that no other city faces water scarcity. Nomsa Masego, BBC News, Gqeberha, South Africa.
With inflation nearly reaching 192% in June, and Zimbabwe's dollar fast losing its value, investing in cattle has become a safer option for some people here than the local currency, an investment they can see and trust.
They obviously choose how many units they want to invest in. It's all Zimbabwe dollar related investment. There's 13,000 units available for investment. 1 unit is equal to 100 kgs of live cattle.
The expectation is that the price, the value of the cattle, appreciates in time, unlike Zimbabwe's dollar. And if clients want to get paid out, their investments are valued and they get their cash back. For people in Zimbabwe and other African nations, cattle have long been a source of wealth. In many rural areas, they are used as currency to pay school fees. Now, similar schemes are being offered to people in urban areas. Like any investment, there are risks. Animals can get sick and die from drought and diseases, but there are also ways to increase their potential.
When they drop their offerings, or that they give birth to the young ones, that's your interest rate. It's a better bank than going to the bank and putting money and get eroded by inflation. So it's a better investment opportunity.
Asset managers say more Zimbabweans are looking for ways to protect their savings against inflation as the economy struggles to rebound.
I think it'll gain traction, and we're very excited for it. We want this to be the thrust of starting to develop the national herd and get back into exporting of beef, and that'll all just support the local industry.
For now at least, cattle seem to be a more stable currency than the local currency, one way of trying to preserve investment value in a country where some citizens have lost faith in conventional methods. Hadu Mutasa, Al Jazeera, Norton, Zimbabwe.
We now get into sports news. Copper Queens coach Bruce MWAPE has praised the Copper Queens team's spirit despite goalless draw with Cameroon. MWAPE has described yesterday's game as a good start for the Copper Queens, reminding them that there are tough times ahead. The Copper Queens, which were in action last night and stoically represented our flag with a hard-fought for goalless draw with the indomitable Lioness of Cameroon. Other stakeholders say it could have been easier given that the Cameroon is ranked second on the continent while Zambia is 13th. But with the growing fearsome reputation of the Copper Queens on the continent, we are able to begin to believe and dream of glory. MWAPE notes that Zambia has also had some challenges around player eligibility for the competition, but are now focused on the 22 soldiers chosen to battle for Zambia.
It's actually a morale booster to all of us, including the players, because as far as I'm concerned, we were meeting a very strong team, and the girls put up a good fight. Although in the first half, we played well, but we were failing to keep possession, especially when we want to push forward. The coordination wasn't all that good. Most of the time we are losing possession, especially in the midfield. But second half we tried, we created a bit of few chances, which was good for us. But our initial plan was actually to defend well, and the most important thing was denying them space, especially when they are approaching our final third, defending third. So on that one, I think I also gave the credit to the players. They actually did well. They played according to our plan. I'm sure even the ones that were trying to criticize the team this time around, I'm sure they will start sending a good message to encourage the players. And even the players themselves now, I'm sure they've actually gained a confidence that we can actually go forward to maybe reach the semi-finals. At the moment, we've got 2 players who can play on that position: Irene herself and Mary Wirombe. If need be, we'll try and use in the next game maybe Mary Wirombe to play on that position. Yeah, their impact, especially the students who are based in Morocco. I believe they actually encourage our players a lot. From the first whistle up to the final whistle, that was very, very encouraging. We were actually happy on that one. We need to work on that one. The 2 days that we've got to prepare for the other game against Tunisia. With the inclusion of the 2 players who were suspended, I'm sure they will give us more strength going forward. And we're looking at the scoreline anyway. We cannot fear them, but like I said, I still believe Cameroon is better than Tunisia. We'll try our level best to make sure that we create more chances so that we carry the day.
Still in sports, the 34th edition of AFCON, initially scheduled for June to July next year in Ivory Coast, will finally take place between January and February 2024. The Confederation of African Football President CAF Patrice Motsepe confirmed the postponement Sunday in the margin of the CAF Executive Committee meeting in Rabat. Since CAF decided to align itself with European calendars, this is the second time the AFCON is scheduled at the beginning of the year. The decision was motivated this time by weather concerns. The Ivorian Meteorological Agency DODEXAM predicted heavy rains in many parts of the country where the stadia would be located. Ivory Coast has a tropical climate in June, and June is the highest of the rainy season. Severe flooding caused by very heavy rains killed at least 5 people in Abidjan, the capital, last month. Many observers were surprised that a football competition would be scheduled in the country during the rainy season.
The 34th edition of AFCON, initially scheduled for June to July next year in Ivory Coast, will finally take place between January and February 2024. The Confederation of African Football President Patrice Motsepe confirmed the postponement Sunday. Since CAF's decision to align itself with European calendars, this is the second time the AFCON is rescheduled at the beginning of the year. The decision was motivated this time by weather concerns. The Ivorian Meteorological Agency predicted heavy rainfall in many parts of the country where the stadia will be located. Ivory Coast has a tropical climate, and June is the height of the rainy season. Severe flooding caused by very heavy rains killed at least 5 people in Abidjan, the capital, last month. Many observers were surprised that the football competition would be scheduled in the country during the rainy season.
Well, that sports item brings us to the end of Camnet TV main news, but before we go, here are the headlines once again. UPND KABWATA Ward 6 Councillor BWALYA CHISHALA cited for illegal land allocation. Abandoned building in CHIBOLYA compound turns into a dump site for dead people. Freedom fighters government to honor them this Heroes Day. And in international news, Sierra Leone's government backs move to decriminalize abortion. And in sports, Copper Queens coach Bruce MWAPE praises team spirit despite goalless draw with Cameroon. Before we go, our Camnet verse of the day is coming from the book of Psalms 33 verse 12, and it reads, "Blessed is the nation whose God is the Lord." Thank you for watching. I am Precious Mzea Sakaleji. Pleasant viewing.